It Happened on the Job, the podcast for relatable conversations with contractors. Sponsored by Goodman Insurance.
Welcome to It Happened on the Job. We are your podcast for relatable and relevant conversations with contractors. My name's Mike. That's Brian.
Hello.
Episode 66 today. We have Chris De Ruyter.
What's up, Chris?
Co-founder of Signage Solutions. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing great.
Good.
Thanks for jumped the gun a little bit there.
Yeah,
huh?
You're good.
Yeah, sorry
You're
about that. Yeah.
Thanks for coming in. How you doing today? Everything
Great.
going okay?
Thanks for having me.
No, we appreciate it, man. We love having people in here to chat with. So, if you could, before we get started, or as we get started here, give us a little breakdown of how you got started in this industry back in the day, and then that journey to where you are now.
Sure. Well, what happened was I'm a Christian, so you grow up and it says signs and wonders follow those who believe. So I thought,
Signs.
I have to be in signs, type of thing. That's not really what happened, but it sounds good.
Yeah, it sounds good. Yeah.
But no, seriously, I was chained to a sign manufacturing way back in the day before they had child labor laws and those kinds of things.
We hear that a lot, actually.
Yeah.
Yes, child labor laws didn't exist
if you work for your dad, you know that's how. And that's exactly what happened. I worked for my father, and he was an entrepreneur, had all kinds of different businesses. I mean, he was just doing always creating something new, and one of them was the sign industry. He was a dairyman from Holland, immigrated over here, and so he
from dairy to signs is pretty natural transition.
From he made a soft drink, car washes to you name it, all kinds of fun stuff. So signage was kind of one of the last things he did. And then my uncle as well had a sign business. So before I even had a driver's license, I would ride my bike down into my uncle's shop and silkscreen Porsche, emblems on their car dealerships and that kind of thing. And I was going to school at the same time at Cypress College, and I thought I wanted to be a astronomy or physics teacher because I really dug on my teacher. He was really cool, hip dude, and I was like, I could do this. This is cool. And the chain pulled back and it said, I need you. We need help right now. And so, I finished school and went to work for my dad. And we really
With your physics degree?
Yes.
Went to the science.
So helpful. I poured my life into it and started with him. I'd always worked with them, but in this business, we started working 18, 20-hour days. So I was committed completely and made a run at that. And at the end of the day, we both got tired. It was one of those businesses where...
Especially working together, right?
Yeah, some work great, some not so much. Get rid of that one. This was one of those ones like scratching your head and you're like, okay, this isn't fun anymore, And so we disbanded that and I went to work for somebody. And this is, how long do we have? I mean, this is a fun story.
we got plenty of time. Okay. We got as long as you want. We're on no time.
I'll try to make my long story longer. So anyways, I go to work for somebody else and I interviewed a couple people that I knew in the industry and I thought, these guys are great. Check them out. And it's not funny. One interview with the company I wanted to be with. And they got, you're hired. The day I get there, they say, hey, welcome aboard. Congratulations. By the way, we're in chapter 11. And I was like,
wait, what?
I wonder what book that is. I'm young, It's like, I know it's bad, but I don't know.
We're going to read 10 chapters already?
I don't know how bad the book is. You know what I mean? And so...
this was another sign company?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it was up in Brea, California. And the coolest thing was they let me, in the midst of chaos, they let me do what I want. And
well, at that point, why not, right?
Yeah, I met this sales guy that was on his way out, and I sat down with him and I said, "How do you?" Because his nickname was $1 Million Mike. Because this guy back then, we're talking in the '80s, is doing over $1 million in sales a year locally, not on a national level, just on a local. I'm just like, I'm just writing down copious notes.
Every sign in Orange County.
Yeah, and I'm just like, and big projects, Irvine Company, that kind of stuff. And so I go, I just want to learn everything from you. So I spent some time with him, and he kind of shared with me and stuff. And I think I was 23, 22 years old or something like that. And I drafted for him, like a truck, and just and took everything and just really. Learned the business radically because I had a different part. My dad was more in the architectural signage, so he was doing hospitals, hotels, and that kind of thing. And I knew how to do all that. But this was more the big developments. So like Tustin Marketplace, they did that project. In fact, we did the project right across the street from you, Foothill Ranch, before there was even a toll road going through here. So you learn these things, and in the midstream of all of this, the company is going under, right? So it's like trying to figure it all out, But I met a guy that he was a mentor to me, and I one day with some wide-eyed crazy idea, I think entrepreneurs, like they breed entrepreneurs, and I think you wanted that infectious
well, it's more
attitude.
of a mindset, in my opinion. It's more of a mindset than it is anything else.
Right? Yeah.
So if you're developed in that and brought up in that, it's almost second nature.
It isn't part of it. Like you're not afraid to take risks,
right?
Calculated,
right?
But you're not afraid to take risks, and so. I'm sitting here young and dumb, and I didn't like the book we were reading, chapter 11. Let's get out of this chapter. And so I approached him and I just said, hey, how do you like to start something new and fresh? And we did. We let that company go, and we started Signage Solutions, where we're at today. And that was 30 years ago. We're celebrating our 30th year today, and it's been a e-ticket, Wild Toad, Mr. Toad's Wild Ride, kind of thing, and but it's been highly rewarding, and I mean that on every level. I don't just mean financial or whatever, but it's been exhilarating, to take something that we design up on paper and have it become a landmark in a city across the country, or just doing a rebrand for somebody, taking an image maybe that's old and tarnished and tired, and putting some new vitality, new life into it with a rebrand type of thing. So that's kind of where it started at. The mentor, good segue into this. My mentor, he was failing in health and so forth, and I was introduced to his son-in-law. And his son-in-law was a just complete master craftsman, house builder. Used to build spec homes out in Canyon Lake and all this kind of stuff. Yeah. And so we roped him, the same way I got roped by my dad, right? Roped him into the business, start building these for us. And he's like, I like building the houses. I don't want to build, pylons and monuments, that kind of stuff. Well, he ended up becoming my partner when everything changed, and we finally morphed into Signage Solutions, where we're at today. And he's just been awesome. You hear a lot about partnerships and all of that, and like, is it hard to get along and all. We've got a great relationship, and just been blessed with that. That's awesome. So it's we each carry our particular responsibilities, but it's been fun. 30
so you
years.
Guys do you like design, manufacture, and install? Are you like kind of beginning to end?
Yes, we do.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So concept to installation, and serve various markets. The markets that we've been in the last 15 years hard or fully committed is we do a lot of restaurants across the country, all your name brand restaurants. We do retailers, the same, and theaters. And thankfully, because of COVID, they're all open. Long silence, awkward pause there. No, it's been. I was tracking. Whoops. Well, I saw that a Led Zeppelin. I saw it coming over, but yeah, it's that was brutal.
Yeah. On that, like, how have you get? What I mean, you literally just described everything that's shut down right now. Yeah. Are you guys trying to work into different verticals, or
absolutely,
how is it? Yeah,
absolutely. For an example, probably about 2 years ago, we got hit by a meteor when the movie theaters got devastated, and I can't remember the year on that, but in the 90s when they weren't making any good product movies. That's what at the end of the day they got to have good product for people to fill the seats. And so we're doing AMC Theaters, and we're doing I want to say it was like $6 million worth of just AMC Theaters alone, and we're like buying a house finally, all these great things. And then overnight, man, it was like 1988 when all the stars aligned and all that. The movie theater industry just got hit by a meteor from outer space and just shut everything down. And that was a good hard lesson for us. We had all our eggs in one basket primarily. We were fully committed. And that was a very difficult 18 months to get through. And the I guess the common word now is pivot, and how do you do that? But really to survive, get back in it. So we've always had this attitude, ethos, don't have all your eggs in one basket. And it's real easy to say that, but it's another thing to actually touch really, on that and know that, I remember that.
Or it's easy to get comfortable and just kind of, not even think about it.
I got to do that.
Yeah, exactly. So with that in the background, about 2 years ago, I told our sales staff we were doing very well in retail, and most of our stuff's word of mouth. Almost for 30 years, it's almost been all word of mouth. We're doing great in restaurants. We've got a good name for us. We work with a lot of the same general contractors, same architects, and they're always referring us into new clientele needed. And we have our legacy clients that we've been working with for a long time. And I said we need to get more involved back again. My old roots, hospitality. And healthcare. And that's what I grew up doing, engraving signs, doctor, so-and-so. And thankfully, my guys took me up on that and were serious about it. And one of our guys, brand new out of the chute, lands the Anaheim Marriott. It's the only luxury hotel to be built here in the last couple of years. Opened last week. Just a beautiful project there. We did inside and out of the whole project, from exterior signage, wayfinding, parking garage signage to the beautiful stuff you see off the side of the freeway when you drive by. And then we also picked up some healthcare scripts, and we're doing a ton of jobs. Both those projects were essential. And so that's really helped it. Had we not had that work at all, we'd be talking to something else. We'd be talking about football probably, and that kind of thing.
That book.
I have the book. I tell you that I'm in chapter 11 again. You know what I mean? But that has been saving grace, and I think doing this for 30 years, nimbleness is so vital.
Oh, for sure.
So vital. I have a mantra that I tell my guys. They laugh at me, but I may be dumb, but I'm slow. You know what I mean? And I mean that because I found like my best asset is observation. That's it. Just observing what's going on in the market, putting a finger out there and seeing which way the headwinds are going. Mm-hmm. And if you're not, like you said, Mike, if you've got tunnel vision, you're just going, just milk the cow. It's giving milk. Give milk the cow. Yeah. At the end of the day, it's going to dry out. Yeah. So that's kind of our pivot was more. It was more there was already some activity pre-COVID that we were making those runs into that. So that
just made it easy to kind of just
worked
shift
out
a lot
nice.
of your stuff. Yeah,
it just worked out really nice for us. So
are you guys, your sales staff is kind of focused on that other stuff right now that's maybe a little bit more essential and that's actually operating?
Yeah, definitely. And we're waiting. I have to say this to take advantage of this moment. I think the saddest thing I get every week is that I get a call across the country to pull down signs somewhere. Yeah. And sometimes all the brands. Yep. And then sometimes you don't. Sometimes you don't know the brands. It's mom and pop that did this beautiful project in Denver. It's a family tradition. 5 generations have owned this restaurant, and they're gone. Yeah. That's been brutal for us. And we're trying to help out in every way possible that we can. We try to coordinate people. Obviously, staff has gone away on a lot of this stuff too. So we try to help people. Hey, here's somebody you can talk to about, maybe this insufficiency that you have currently because you had to let go of middle management or that type of thing. Right. And so just trying to do our little part, help everybody get along, and move forward. Yeah. Got to move forward. Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah.
How have you guys internally, from a staff management standpoint, handled the whole situation and staff morale and just basic staffing inside your offices and whatnot?
Sure. Well, on a macro thing, we have been boots on the ground across the country, so we've been used to remote working. So we have project managers in every time zone, and when the remote part of the mandatory shutdown didn't hurt us at all. Right. Matter of fact, some guys really dug on it at the beginning. This is awesome. No traffic. Well, there wasn't traffic anyway on the road at that time. But I think things turned into an Autobahn. in trying to, some people do it better than others, and then some people they loved it for 2 weeks, but after that it was like, I need a change in pace, you know. And so what we've done is being Orange County based, where we have we're a little bit more lenient than say LA. They've got some bigger mandates there, right? So what we've done is we've taken the office and we have strategically have people working, less people working, more spaced apart. I don't like social distancing. That's a horrible moniker, but equal distance, you know, safe distance, you know, type of thing. And that's worked out well. There's no pressure. And then you have the standards. We've got the guys with masks and we've got the sanitizer, all those kinds of things. In that, but I think maybe the core of the question is, how do you do with morale?
Yeah.
How do you do with morale? I mean, when you see this go on and everybody knows, your project management team sits there and goes, okay, we had 37 of those restaurants. We've got 3. Yeah. You know, and
well, you're like you said, you're taking calls about other businesses shutting down. You're hearing about other contractors laying people off, and so I mean, it's a tough situation to be in. It's very tough, and so I mean, one of the things was dialogue on a weekly basis, just making sure that and being transparent. Don't paint a certain sky, you know, picture that's like, oh, it's all working out beautifully, and because that, you know, no one's coming in at 22 years old and reading out of a book, chapter 11 and stuff. They're a little more wiser than I, you know what I mean? And so, you know, in looking at it, it's the key for us was leaning in on our workers, making sure that they're able to, you know, stress issues that they have and so forth. I mean, one of the things for us is if you're not comfortable coming in, then don't. Then don't. Right. Then don't. Yeah. And especially like everybody has really adapted really well. So our designers, now I've had designers in the Philippines, we've had designers in different areas of the country, but our designers are working great. No problem whatsoever. And some of the technology that we put in a couple of years ago, had we not done that, that would have been a big issue. Yeah. Like having everybody on an ERP system that's cloud-based, that's real-time, that we can all look on and be able to communicate with and also track jobs and benchmarks and all that. Thank God that you have those devices in place, you know, type of thing. So that's been good. And then the other thing is we have a weekly production meeting that goes really the heart and soul of the company, and so we have everybody zoom in on that. And you're able to talk to people. You're able to real time. Hey, what's going on? How are you? And the last part is just, hey, how are you doing physically? Right. I mean, we've had some people that have had some health issues, not COVID, but have had some health issues, and it's like, okay, we need to take care of this as a team together. And I think that's the huge thing. And I won't overstate it. I'm sitting here today after 30 years, not because of my brilliance. I always say this. I mean this. I know the 2 knuckleheads that run the company. They're not that smart. You know what I mean? They're not as. But being observant. I mean, Steve Jobs. I just steal stuff from people. He said, "Don't be the smartest person in the room. Hire the smartest people. Make sure you hire the smartest people in the room." And that's what I've really tried to do. I mean, you excel by observation, and then you find out what works and what doesn't work, and then you implement it and execute it. And when you do those things, you should see success. Yeah. You really should. Chapter 11 should go away. You know what I mean? And you should come out much, much better. You know. That's awesome. So going back a little bit, you mentioned that you and your partner have kind of your own little roles. What is that management team? What are you guys' roles, and how does that break down? How do you guys handle kind of situations?
Sure. So I was going to be real funny, but I thought, man, I better.
No, we like it.
keep to the script. I mean, no, you know, it's really actually a nice relationship because I handle front end, he handles back end. Okay. And so what I mean by that is sales, marketing, design. It's all on the front end. On the back end, it's my partner Jim, who, I mean, this guy has created and built stuff that's just absolutely amazing. We need a globe for AMC Theaters. It's going to spin around and fire is going to shoot out of the middle of it. How do you guys do that? His job. I design it, make it all pretty, and all that. Go, Jim. You know,
it's easy to draw the picture,
big cheerleader. Right? I'm on the front end of this thing, you know. But you know, he's just done a fabulous job at that, and it's been a nice synergy that way. And it's not like, hey, this is my part of it, stand out. It's exact opposite. It's full collaboration. When we get a project in, we both look at it. And I can't design as well without him.
Right.
He can't build as well without my design intake. Right. And man, that kind of collaboration, you get some winning results there, you know? And sometimes it's as simple as the way we're building a sign. Like a client will come in and go, it just seems like our signs are way too expensive. Like and we're talking on a national rollout, so they might have 100 stores, 200 stores. So I'm like, isn't there a way we could VE this thing and make it better? And we're looking at it all together, and all of a sudden you start going, what about if you just change that little thing out? Do you know that little thing out of that saves you $300 per set of letters? With 3 sets of letters on a building with times 100 stores, it's a lot of money, you know, to recoup. And so those things are really helpful, and collaboration is key in that. And again, I think the part of it is, don't think you're so smart. Don't think you're all that in a bag of chips. That's what my wife says to me all the time. And I guess it's working. But you know, people have some great ideas, and if we listen, if we lean in on those things, you can create some stuff that's pretty magical, pretty wonderful.
That's fun. Yeah.
What did you see initially? Because you talked about he used to build homes out, you know, I think it was Canyon Lake somewhere there. But what was it that you saw in him that was different than anybody that else that you'd seen before that pulled you into grabbing him and joining your team? So that's a great question, by the way. All signs, back when I started in the business, now we're talking freestanding signs that you'd see in a mall, shopping center, food and drug market, drug kind of shopping center, were built out of sheet metal. And sheet metal has that oil canny look. It's all flimsy and all that. And then it rusts. And it really isn't that great of a product. This is back in the day. Now everything's aluminum. But back in the day.
Heavy too, right?
Yeah. And just really an inferior product. Well, my partner, because he built homes and used the Drive It system back in the 80s, that's when that stuff really took on. So Drive It is an EFIS type of system that you use on high rise, right? So we started building signs out of Drive It. Nobody was building signs back then. So I got 70-foot, 80-foot, 100-foot pylons. We still have 2 of the largest pylons from here to San Francisco on the 101 freeway that serve as 4 levels of Verizon, AT&T, they all have their own deck where they broadcast their signal from, you know, cell towers, air conditioned units, and all that kind of stuff. A sign builder wouldn't have that understanding because you're now building a sign like a building. Right. And so when you build a sign like a building, now you don't have what in the industry we call it text coat, which is really like chopped up peanuts thrown in shells, thrown in paint. Oh, that's beautiful. That's great. You know, it's like, I wouldn't want that on my house, you know? You know what I mean? And he's blowing on with a hopper gun, he's blowing on Drive It texture that you blow on your building. So when the building is right here and the pylon's right here, you're just like, oh my gosh, it's your contractor built that, didn't he? Yeah. No, it was these knuckleheads down in Anaheim, you know, kind of thing. And so that really is what I just saw that as genius. I saw that because his knowledge was so much larger than the sign industry that it was very easy for him to look at signs and go, you want me to build signs? Widgets? I'm on, you know? It's like, this is going to be easy, you know? And don't get me wrong, it's not easy altogether, but, you know, using broad brush strokes.
Well, you're talking about his, for lack of a better word, genius coming in and taking that experience that he had outside of that industry.
That's so much larger.
It's almost like he didn't know what he didn't know, right? So
exactly.
Did he know at that point that he was innovating, or was he just doing what he knew?
Or just saying, that's dumb, why are you doing it that way?
Yeah, no, he was locking on to my mentor who developed that process. So remember, that was his son-in-law. So he just took it and ran with it. And we still have structures up today that sheet metal never would have lasted. So, you know, those are some of the things you just saw in a guy. You're just like, this guy's, and not only that, he'd whip it up overnight. Hey, a little story on him real fast. We're at Christmas time, we're always trying to figure out, okay, what are you getting your wife? What are you getting your kids or whatever? He goes, I'm building a dollhouse for my daughter. This is when she was really young, right? I'm thinking, oh, okay, that's cool. You know, I'm thinking
I can't do that.
No, but I'm thinking a little dollhouse, right? Thinking a little dollhouse. So I walk out there, And he's got this 10 by 10 dollhouse with Milgard windows, with a door, opening door. And he whipped it up like over a Christmas weekend, like a Christmas holiday that we shut down on. And I come back, oh my gosh, man. So yeah, you're just like, I'm always asking him, working on my house, and I'm always asking him, okay, how do I do this? And so he'll get a text from me with a photo. What do I do here? I digress, sorry. Yeah.
That's funny. From a hiring standpoint, it sounds like you guys are really into culture and people.
Fully.
And so are you looking more at that before you look at experience, or how does that process break down for you guys?
Yeah, great question. I think that we've hired in before in different schools or principals, like a designer, and this guy's the hottest thing since sliced bread in the sign industry, comes with a pretty penny on top of it and all that. And if you bring him in here, he's just going to change your whole thing. Sometimes that works. Most of my 30-year experiences, it doesn't. Culture is massive for us, and I think that comes with maturity. Like you said, sitting back observing, right?
Yeah, watching how that synergy in your team
best
works.
Guys, my best girls are those that started off in probably the lowest rungs and had a passion for what they were doing, an excitement about what they were doing. Like you could see it in them, like it really enjoyed what they did. And when they talked to their fellow employees, or when they talked to a client, it came across. And so like you just saw, okay, this person, we're just going to pour into them. We're going to invest into these guys. And I have people that have just been with me 15, 20, 30 years that are just absolutely amazing. And they are the company. They're more the company than I am. We give them the ability to sprout and to bloom and all that. But they're really the nuts and bolts that hold things together.
And I would say that, in my opinion, a lot of that passion is probably developed from being able to see a future and a path and that investment that you guys are willing to put into them. A path forward for them and up into the company, and not just kind of like, well, this is where I'm hired. How do I get up there? But kind of giving them that.
And that's what happened to me.
Yeah.
I was a sales guy at that Chapter 11 company. And I ended up owning it. Through divesting or whatever you want to call it, through circumstance, and I just think that's and as I sit here at 55 years old. My whole goal is to try to get that passion to young people. I really mean that. I've been fortunate to talk to some different groups that go around schools and stuff. There's some great things that are going on where people want to do mentorships in the inner city. And I said, I'd love to be involved with that because my whole family, my dad came from a family of 13 kids. Every single one of them pretty much was an entrepreneur. Every single one of them just said, I'm going to take a calculated risk. Sometimes it worked out. Sometimes it didn't. But every single one of them has done really, really well on all levels, And so I want to encourage that person that goes, maybe I could do it myself, or maybe I can be involved with my own thoughts, whether it's creativity of music, whether it's creativity of building a podcast show or business or whatever it is, just to stir that pot and get someone excited that way. And I hope that in my last bunch of years, and I'm not old, don't get me wrong, and I don't tend to be, but if that's one of the things that I can do is to get people excited about really going for it. And don't worry about when they digress or part of this. So when we were handed over the company, there was actually 4 of us involved. It was my partner, Jim, today, who's the son-in-law of the mentor. The mentor passed away, so he wasn't around. And then we had another guy involved, and it just wasn't working out. So we, with the other gentleman. And so we disbanded, parted ways, and it was just Jim and I left. So we're all excited. It's our company now, right? And this is when we started in a recession. 1990s, started in a recession. Mm-hmm. So we're all excited. We got this company, and we run out of this building in Anaheim, and we walk through it, and you could shoot a bowling ball and not hit any work in there, right? And I'm thinking, what in the heck are we gonna do? And
now what?
The beauty is that we answered a phone call to AMC Theaters. I think it was AMC, but I mean. And they said, hey, could you guys service this project out here? It's in Burbank. Got some neon out, Go out there. It's a service call. Take care of it. And they say, you guys, we're looking at massive expansion for the next bunch of years. Would you guys like to bid on this thing? Okay. At the time, I didn't know this, but I had an uncle, and his name was Sam. And the partner that we got rid of was handling the accounting at the time, and we didn't pay him. We didn't pay him. We didn't pay sales tax. There was another uncle in California that we didn't pay sales tax and federal tax. And they came and said, "Well, hi boys, congratulations on this company. I'm needing money. Baby needs new shoes, right?" And we're two young guys at 24 years old, and we're saying, "What are we gonna do? What are we gonna do?" And it was crazy because we walked out to this shop that we had, and we thought, we got no work, we've got nothing going on, and this is back in the day when people are just going, "I'm just going to go underground, man. I'm gonna declare that as an American or not American, I don't need to pay taxes anymore." No, we're not doing that. I wasn't raised that way. Let's take our punches on the chin. Let's see what happens. And that's when that phone call came in. We owed Uncle a lot of money. we owed his stepbrother or whatever it was from California a lot of money. And within 1 year, we not only paid off those debts, but actually turned a decent profit because of all of that. And again, I opened up with a Christian, but I thank God for that. Yeah. I mean, because that was something that was. Like I said, I know the guys that ran the business back then. They weren't that smart, you know what I mean? And just got blessed. What happened was we flew out to Kansas City. We interviewed with AMC Theaters with our vice president, and they just said, "Here's work." And that work lasted for 5 years until the meteor came, and we just crushed it. Just crushed it. So
what gives you the balls to go in there and bid a job like that and do it like in the situation you're in? Like, how do you even get through that process?
There's a quote. I can't.
Because I can't. You know what I mean? Like, it's,
yeah, totally.
You almost don't feel good enough, but you gotta take the risk, right? But
that's exactly it, Mike. There's a quote by I want to say it's the Virgin Air guy, or
what's his name? Richard.
Richard
Branson.
Yes,
yeah.
and I think he's the one who says go in there. And just go do it. The quote's horrible when you'll find it later, but I'm a bad quoter. He says, go in and do it, and then just figure out how to get it done. That's the entrepreneurial spirit, It's like figure out Did
they know your size or track record of what you guys did? I mean, or lack thereof at the time,
and the competition made sure of that.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Because we were up against some of the biggest companies in the country.
Yeah.
And we just got blessed, man. To be honest with you, just got radically blessed, and they gave us a piece of the work, and it was a huge piece. Yeah. And that's what really got us involved with the national sign programs and stuff like that. So, with different clients, we've done stuff all over the world with. It's not as glamorous as it sounds. We build it in Anaheim, California. We ship it all over the Ireland, all through Canada. I've done stuff in Japan, Morocco, you name it, and all that. And it basically gets on a plane, goes in a box, and the guy at the other end goes, "Well, let's put this up." That's the glamour side of it. But, we've been blessed that way. And I think it's important in business to learn to cut your teeth on stuff. I've seen so many people, and this is the sales guys listening. I remember once I had a sales guy, and he got into a pretty big project, and I said, "Hey, I saw that he has all these other stores going. Have you asked him about those?" And he goes, "No, not yet. We got to get this one done right first." And the first thing I said to him was, "Did he tell you that? Did he audibly say something or emailed that to you?" He goes, "No." I go, Why are you missing your opportunity? Yeah. Why are you missing your opportunity? And I think it's something that you have to continually teach your team. Think about ways that we can be smarter. Again, it just comes back to observation. It's one of my friends who was a sergeant, a PD in San Clemente, told me that once a police officer has his foot in the door, it's called a breach. You own the whole house. And in sales, and you can kind of tell I'm a kind of a AAA personality. Once you get into a client, you should get into the client. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. And don't get me wrong, but earn it, obviously. Right. There's that
trust
whole
your
side
ability, trust
exactly. Earn it. But I think that sometimes people are very timid in what they do, and you don't need to be. You don't need to be timid. Go for it. Have fun. It's America, man. I mean, it's my two of my uncles have two of the largest dairies in the country. They came over from Holland, you know, and they were my dad was a dairyman, you know.
Here in California, or
one in Spokane area.
Okay.
So East Washington, and the other one in New Mexico. Okay. And I don't know if that's true, but they said somewhere that they produce almost a fifth of the milk in the country, or an eighth of the milk. I don't know. Don't shoot me.
Some larger fraction that's more than most.
Yeah, but it's mind blowing, you know. And so I think that's something that I'm always trying to instill. I got some just key employees too that I'm always pulling them aside. We'll go to lunch and I'll just say, hey, so have you thought about your future? You know, some were young. Yeah. We looked around about a couple of years ago and we go, oh my gosh, you guys are wearing glasses. We're all wearing glasses. All the partners are, and I'm looking around and go, we all got old, man. we got to start
time
investing.
To get some young blood. Yeah.
It is, and not just young, you know, people that can fog a mirror, but people that have that passion. They're excited, and you're going to rub and bump elbows to it, and they're going to catch it. Yeah. They're going to catch it. That's what's vital. You asked about hiring and how you do all that. I really want people that will catch it. You know. We've had all kinds of employees, and as I said, the thing that's worked the best for us is those that have come up the ranks. Yeah. Whether it's in manufacturing in the back, we had a guy that he's still here to this day, thank God, Lucio, and we had another guy that had been with us at the old company. We're going back past 30 years, and we said, hey, would you want to run the manufacturing department, the main area of fabrication? And he looked at us, and he should have said yes, and he goes, no. And so we had another guy that was working for us, Lucio, and we asked him the same question. And my partner Jim's looking at him one day before he asked him the question, and he goes, hey, do you know how to do this? And he goes, oh, yeah. And well, will you work on this job? He whips it up, you know, in a nanosecond type of thing. And, okay, can you do this or that? And he goes, yeah. Do you want to run the fabrication department? Sure. All right. So he's been, don't quote me on the time, but I want to say 15 years he's been running the fabrication department. Because there was an opportunity there. Yeah. And when guys own an opportunity, get out of the way. Get out of the way. It's so awesome to watch. It is so awesome to watch it. And it's infectious for other people. You know, it's exciting to see people watch somebody and go, I remember when that guy started. Yeah. He was like, didn't know what a sign was. You know, what's an LED or something like that. And today, I mean, he's just crushing it. So we like to get behind that, you know, and as they open their sail, make sure the wind gets into that thing, you know.
That's so fun.
Yeah. I feel like the theme that I'm hearing a lot of is opportunity, right? We talked about earlier that you were working with one of your sales guys and saying, you know, don't get stuck on the little things. There's opportunity, but you know, behind maybe, or when you started the company and recognizing some of these guys, even Lucio, right? But you're right. It is completely inspiring when you can see somebody that's so good at what they do, and it could be just a small job or a small role. Yeah. But they crush it and do it well.
Yes.
And you're right. I think it breeds. There's some kind of I don't know what it is, but it creates a team of people that love what they do because they say, oh, he's got it. And if he's got it, he's doing what he's doing, I could probably do the same, right? Yeah. And so then you create this team, and it's a byproduct, really, of what you've already noticed and what you were able to establish. But it sounds like, from what I'm understanding, that you and Jim are able to go in, and you have had the ability, whether it's pivoting in terms of finding business and opportunities, that you've been able to say, hey, listen, we've got to pivot, we've got to go this way, or we've got to bring these guys in, and it's really kind of help the company gel and flourish and
your whole team
even in hardship. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we've been through some rough weather. I mean,
we're in rough weather.
And maybe going back to your question about how do you ease the waters when they're so rough and chaotic. We shared with our team. This is how the company was. The inception of the company started in one of the worst recessions that we've ever had. So it's not our first rodeo, and not to put it lightly or whatever, but the guys at the helm, they've been down this road before, you know. And we've in 30 years we've seen these kinds of things, and I think that always helped. Nothing worse when the leader, the captain, screaming, "I don't know," you know, or something like that.
What do we do?
Yeah, exactly. Okay, we're out. You know, it's like, hey, I heard the other company down the street's hiring. You know, I mean, so I think that helps, obviously. You know, instill that you know what, these guys, they're not backing off. They're committed. They've even found other opportunities to exploit. Right. And so let follow the leader. And I think that's important in business, that principals lead. You know, they lead. They don't. In ministry, you have a shepherd and a cattle driver.
Right.
A shepherd leads by example, and the sheep follow. A cattle driver, you get the whip out, you get the dog nipping at his knee. That doesn't work. Yeah. That just doesn't work in business. Doesn't work in family relationships, socially.
Culture.
Exactly. So I think that it's important to lead by example. Be a good leader, and when people see that you are leading, it's easier to get behind.
Yeah.
You know.
Going back from when you guys picked up AMC, from that first service call to that big contract, did you guys already have a team in place, or did you have to hire quickly to put together a team in place to handle that?
We had a couple key employees that were just able to tap into things, but we had to hire up for sure. Yeah. You know, because volumes were at a level where we couldn't support.
There,
you know, and so it presents a great set of problems, right? Because the opposite is Uncle gets his way and reading the book again, you know, kind of thing. But so we definitely had to hire, and you know, when you're young, you probably, hey, can you fog a mirror? You know, you give them that test, and they come in, and you're going through all kinds of people.
Yeah.
So, and that doesn't pay off because onboarding and all those kinds of things,
expensive.
It takes time. It takes time, and that was a hurdle for sure. But the beauty was that the client never saw that. Hopefully not listening. We slept on the couch there. I mean, that's how committed we were to pulling this thing off. I remember working 20-hour days, and I crashed on the couch in the conference room because, you know, you're going all in type of thing. And then sometimes that's what you have to do as an owner, for sure. You know.
Well, hopefully they are listening, right? I mean, that shows some sort of, you know, want to or need to at that point. Yeah.
Well, we want to be committed. You know, someone said, you know, say what you do and then follow it up by do what you say. You know, it's easy to say what you do, but you got to follow it up by do what you say. That will get you all. I've never had to beg for work. I've never had to do any of that type of stuff. That has been our greatest mantra for our company is if word of mouth, a general contractor will say, I don't like that sign guy on these. We're Signage Solutions. We've had that happen to us many times because we don't come in with an adversarial role. That's not my job. You know, hey, we want to come in. We want to come in advance, sit down with you guys, talk about get technical in the weeds for a moment, but power, accessibility, you know, all these types of things, accessibility onto the job site, when, you know, programming, the scheduling, all that kind of stuff. If you have a collaborative role there as well, your GC loves you because he said he'd be out on Friday morning at 6:30. Guess where he was on Friday morning at 6:30? On the job site. Yeah. You know, and that's people remember that. You know, people remember that for sure.
So from a logistical standpoint, you guys are producing everything out of Anaheim?
We are.
Out of a factory there. And then from an install standpoint, do you have different teams around the country? Do you guys travel, or do you guys hire locally to install? How does that?
A little bit of all of the above. So when we were doing 100 BJs across the country, we had this extreme 600 and something feet of lineal light bar cove that we put on that could not go on until the end, till it was finally, you couldn't prefab anything.
Right.
You had to have hard measurements in the field and build it. And so we'd fly our guys out, they'd measure it, fly back, whip this thing up in 3 or 4 days because they're trying to get open, move all the material out there, send our guys out there to install it all so it all fit. We've had that capability. But we also have 30 years of vetted subcontractors, installers, and they're not just putting up a sign for you. You've got a certain tier of sign contractor installer that I've got guys that are in a certain, let's just pick Austin for a moment. I've got my vinyl installer there that does all the interior graphics for, say, a QSR or something like that. And then you've got your guy that does the storefront signs, who works good at this level, at this tier, in this market. And then you got your guy that you're doing a hotel for that he's a different caliber. And so those people are vetted, and they also know that every month they're getting work from us. Yeah. And here's the key. If you pay your bills, they love you.
They work.
Excuse me. They do. They love you. And That's really important. It's really important because again, it's a team thing, and we want the Austin installer on the end of receiving our signage and so forth, that it isn't like a Rubik's Cube. He has to figure out how to get it done. We've done we pride ourselves in the way we fabricate a sign. Our installation, because my partner has installed signs for us over all the years, knows in the field that you really need to build it this way.
Right.
And so on the flip side of that, I see a lot of national companies, they don't even give you hardware to install the sign anymore, let alone
figure it out.
Hey, that's your deal. We don't want that relationship. We want a relationship where my guy in Colorado or whatever, he knows how the sign's going to come. We've had that talk, and it works nicely. When a guy says I got a day out in the field, guess what? He has a day out in the field versus 2 days. And that you sent me, that didn't work. Don't get me wrong. You always have certain at the moment fires that pop up because it's construction, But that's we pride ourselves on that. We really do. We try.
So it sounds like communication is big with a lot of those subs. Obviously, that open line of communication, but they're also out there. Your reputation is relying on them to an extent, right? Yeah. So what does that vetting process look like for you guys to make sure that there's somebody that's going to uphold the standards that you have and make sure that you guys continue the good name?
Yeah, especially in today's litigious market, right? Somebody doesn't come, and we're not even talking COVID for a moment here. You're talking somebody that shows up on a job site, they don't have the insurance certs and all those kinds of things. Yeah. So we have a, and it's probably an industry standard for most sign companies. We have a packet that has all those, what our safety protocols are, what our job site expectations are, how you come to a job site, how you coordinate with the field, which would be the landlord, security if required, because some stuff you do in New York and you've got to post a 24-hour rent a cop. Right. And the thing, you don't just get that on the fly. You've got to coordinate that, or you got a street closure. So we lay out all those processes and on that. And then you've got just the other issues that are the price and the skill level, the equipment level that they have for that. And you give them projects, see how they do. You check with other people in the industry. Hey, I've got a new market. Maybe we haven't have a lot of exposure into. Say it's Duluth or something like that. That there's just not a lot of movement there. Right. I mean, I'm in every market that, like, if you're talking Miami, we know exactly who we're going to work with in Miami. If we're in Portland or something of that nature, we know exactly who we're going to work with that because you've vetted over the years, 30 years. This guy knows it's
bigger markets.
We're a team. Yeah. But you'll get into some markets where you are going to rely upon other people to help you make that selection.
Yeah.
So
very cool. So what does the future look like for you guys? So what does the next 5-10 years look like? Where are you guys?
It's so bright I got to wear shades. True optimistic, huh?
Yeah, right.
The COVID thing obviously is a question mark for people. You can get into the whole political thing that we're in right now and everything else. I think for us, we're balancing. And that means the different vertical markets that we're in and so forth, making sure. I went back to residential. I'm doing multifamily now. I mean, we started with Irvine Company and those people way back in the day. I was like, I thought I left this. It's like, that's the beauty of a long historic period and oversight.
Relationships.
Yeah, you can morph back into something, and it's like riding a bike. It's like, oh yeah, this is how we do this kind of thing. And wheels might be wobbly at first, but I don't even think we needed training wheels. We moved right back in there, and so for us, intimate or immediate future, I would say is we're focusing on the markets that are viable right now. So we're doing a ton of healthcare. Yeah. We're doing a ton of healthcare right now. Yeah. We're doing multifamily as well. We're what else? Industrial. So that's still going very well, especially as you see the Amazons of the world, logistic warehouses. Oh my gosh, these are 2 million square feet. We're Amazon facilities that they're building everywhere. So industrial is big as well. LA, you could be scared to death going in there thinking that nothing's happening. But I don't know if you guys have been up to LA lately. you drive up there and all you see is cranes moving up above your head.
Yeah.
You know, so there's
it's almost like they're trying to go faster when things are shut down.
Yeah. And there's for us, I just tie everything to our clients. When I look at the future, and we have some clients, we're doing very big in the ghost kitchen market right now. That's a subset.
Just
neither of us had even heard of those, and just talked to somebody yesterday who brought it up and went off about it.
Yeah, so that's a subset. That's and that was pre-COVID.
Yeah.
We're working with Kitchen United, which is one of the bigger ones, and you've got a lot of people coming into that game. So there, and that just not only makes sense in COVID. You know, because you're working off the DoorDash and Grubhub and all those others. But, you know, a great example is I just put an article in LinkedIn today that Bayless had all of his concepts shut down in the airport because of COVID. So he's moving to Kitchen United to be able to get that Mexican concept out there again. And these are just great vehicles. These are great vehicles. Habit Burger. I mean, you name it. There are a whole bunch of guys are using these. And so I think that's tied to our future. And that's the thing. We put it away and we see what's going on and we try to track with it. So I think that my eyes are getting bad the older I get. I mean, my prescription is definitely getting thicker and thicker. But as long as I can see, you know, I think the future does look good, you know. And again, we've been through some pretty brutal things over the history of our company. So I think if you have that mentality too, you'll succeed. Yeah. It's a mindset more than anything. Yeah. It's like the guy I told you about in the sales where he was just like, you know, he said we'd have to do this. You made that up. That's fake news. and you bought that. You bought that news.
You sold it to yourself.
You did. That's the worst. That's the worst. And so, you know, I think for us, we're gonna navigate these waters. We'll come out leaner and stronger, and because of you get down to brass tacks of things. And not only that, you really see your employees, your teammates, really, they get down to brass tacks of things, and they really understand the rudiments of business. So I think the future is going to be good for us. And we're going to see people come out stronger. Read an article again today. I'm a big LinkedIn guy. Read an article today, and they were talking about because of all the closure of restaurants, there's going to be a mass vacuum. And so we know of clients that we're talking to right now, they're sitting on the sidelines and they're getting ready to get some of these A-class, B-class properties that they couldn't get into before because of rent. So it's interesting. It's very interesting, you know.
That's fun, though.
Yeah.
Lots of opportunity, man.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, we appreciate the time, man. We want to give you an opportunity to let the people know where to find you.
Sure.
Social medias, websites, phone numbers, whatever.
Sure. So I think the simplest thing is just Signage-Solutions.com. It's our website.
Cool.
You can catch me on LinkedIn as well. I'm always on there, and I love it. I learn a lot from that. Again, just trying to observe.
Fun.
Yeah. So that's it. And we're based out of Anaheim, so you can catch us here, and we'll go to an Angel game if they ever play again. We're 9 iron away. So,
Do any signs in the stadium at all?
A little bit. We did
Are you bidding the new stuff? Have they put that new stuff out
not
bid
yet? Not yet. It's just getting finalized and going.
Yeah.
So
it should be fun over there.
Yeah, exciting.
Very cool. Well, we appreciate it, Chris. Thanks so much.
Right.
Stay safe, and we'll make sure we keep in touch.
Yeah, Sounds great.
Chris.
Thanks, guys. Really appreciate it. It's a fun time.
Have a good one.
Thanks.
Hey, thanks for listening. And if you've made it this far, go ahead and give us a like or 5 stars or whatever means you like us.
Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss our next episode. And check out our website for more video content and extras.
While you're there, shoot us a message if you want to be a guest. We'd love to have you on.
Thanks again, and we'll see you next time.